And here it goes. On page 136 in the little blue book, this is where he has a chart. After looking at this, then I realized that the back of the other book, the Rechovos HaNahar, really basically has this also, not in the same format, but same idea. So today we're gonna look at. Well, I guess we'll probably have time to look at all six. We'll look at them one at a time. So I know the basics just for in case those few people that listen to these shiurim. What we have across the top is we have each one of the days of the week, and each one of them has a different king, one of the kings that died, and each one of that's across the very top. And then going back into the big box, it talks about then each one of the individual days of the week, which would match up with that. It's a 7 inside of an aspect of a 7. And it starts off with the right column of the big box has all the shachs. There's 6 of them. He's going to go through them in the Tiv. And then he spells them out, really. For example, the one we're going to start with today, trying to understand what he's doing, he says this is a level of Bina, which is Sag. And Sag, if you take Sag and you multiply it by 5, it comes out to the number of Shatu. And then you add the Hey, which represents Bina, which is Hey Law, you get to Shak, you get to 220. Then what happens in that each one of the days is that I mean I could see what he does. He takes the Yud-Ke Vav-Ke, which is the Sag, and he splits it up according to the days, and each one of these boxes is going to have a 45 in it. So I'm not sure what the language would be to try to explain this better, but that's what he's doing. So he's taking each one of them and he's putting a 45 to it. How does he do that? By cutting up basically usually the last letter, and brings it down to 45 and adds it on to the next day and go on and on and on until it goes like that. So that was the first one, and we can and then go to page Kufnem Nun Aleph. Let me see how this looks here in our regular book on number page Pei Zion. So he said, so now we're saying that we have these Chochmah is with the place where these birurim are refined, and now he says shenimshachim min hachokma al bina. So now that those refined, maybe it's the 320s. I'm not sure how we say it. Nasim sham kamishim sha'arim. So once it gets the bina, those birurim are now going to become the 50 gates and 50 gates. Himbabichin is chamisha gevuros, which are what? We're dealing with 5 gevuros. What are the 5 gevuros? Probably matzapach. And so these are the 5 sweetened gevuros. Let's say call achaz kalula me'eser. Each one of them has 10, and that gives you the 50 gates. That's how it goes. It's really basically what's the 50 gates is composed of the gevuros. Lacha mikan nimshacha meshach dinin nebina. V'chashach dinim. So we have the 320 dinim. That's it's still a little bit vague. I mean, there's 320, but every day, you have another set of 320. So maybe that's what he's talking about. Let's go over there, and he explains this out a little bit. He says, that's what we call them. So that's what it is. It's the 5 gevuros themselves, probably the manzapach, and they're transformed in Bina into 50 channels. 50 kovakol achas kolula me'aser harei chamishin, that makes the 50. Bina kovakol shakol shar v'shar kolu bekulam. So every single shar has all the other sharim in it. So he says, well, what we say, like shar 1 has all 50 within shar 1. So it comes out there's actually 50 different types of nitzutzim. So where are we now? Shachdinim, number Peitas. Kol shar v'shar chalok mishuna mechavero. So they're all different. So we'll see how this goes. Either combinations of joining letters together, or we take in the gematrias of them. Kol achad b'shuna mechavero. So he says, "Achein b'kol shar mizvate." I guess mizvate means is that we say, is what was I say? Comes out. Mizvate is lashon speaking, isn't it? Mizvate b'chinas hashach dinim shaloka or ba'ofen acher. So each one of them shows, I guess we'll say like that, a different set of shach than anything than the others. The Haidash b'kol shar yesh siruf o gematria acheres shel shemas ha'olam l'minyan shach. U'me'elach ha'chamishim sha'arim, and so let me see, push this down a little bit. U'me'elach ha'chamishim sha'arim, from these 50 gates, shehem chamisha gevuros nimshachos d'shamos b'nei adam. Then we see this is also, which I can't really quite explain, the stream or the flow of this is how the river or the neshamas come in. Called echad ve'echad nimshach mishar prati, and so every neshama comes from a different part of one of these gates. Now I need a little explanation. And he says, "Kol neshama v'neshama shel adam nimshechet b'shar echad b'toch hachamishim shari bina." Nimsa shekol echad ve'echad shaykh lebechina shach echad. So therefore, each one of them has an aspect of shach in it. Now, each one of what? He said nimshechas mishar echad, no problem. Mitoch hachamishim shari bina. So as a result of that, nimsa shekol echad ve'echad shaykh lebechina shach echad. So they all have some difference in them. V'kol echad sarek b'chayav. Every one is needed for your sustenance to keep you alive. The saken is bechinas hashach, and what's the purpose there? Is to be misaken, that aspect of shach, nitzutzim. I'm trying to understand what he's trying to say. Is that this is our struggle as bechinas hashach nitzutzim shal l'shar shebemenahu chutzva. Was carved out. Nishmaso shehem elu hashaychim. Does he mean shaychim by shachim? That means shach, the shachs, the 20 shach, the 50 shach. There we go. So each one of us has a different set of these dinim in us. That's a little interesting. I don't quite understand it like I'd like to. But really to get into it, which would be talking about us, with the exception of 6 or 5 or 6 of these sharim. So now he's going to say what they are. So his Omer Marachul the lo gila lo harav zal bepratrut. He doesn't say specifically. Echem seder bechinas hashach nitzutzim shel kol shar v'shar. He didn't go into that. Me'elach ha'mishin sharmin. Elarak shisha sharim mehem, but only 6 of those gates. Mehem gilulo. That's all that he was able to learn. The fared seder elach hashisha sharim. So now we'll go to the Shar Rishon, who he hine he chavaya the sag. Now, we saw that, and it is really in that chart. V'gam hu hey rishona sheb'shem avaya. It's also the first hey in the name of avaya. V'lechen kenegdem hey chamisha sharim. So then you're going to corresponding to them. They're going to be 50 sharim, because he said that the 50 is in each one of them. Let me get a little trick here. Okay. So he said, what happened? So he says, Ashar harishon me'elach hashisha sha'arim shagilach rav zachon l'marchu avach v'enenach harishon b'seidach hamishim sha'arim. It doesn't mean it's the first one of the 50. It's the first one of the ones that he knows about. Kamavur l'kamon, we're going to see this later on. Ukach. Ki hinei shem havaya debina is in fact the Havaya, the Milu Isag. V'harbe, excuse me, V'rabina he besod os hey rishon sheb'shem Havaya. Because of this, it has, that's the concept that 5, which we said before, represents the 5, which it also represents 5 times 10. Keneged bechinas os hey harumazes al chamisha cholokim sheyesh bebina, on the 5 different portions that are in the bina. I'm not sure what he meant by the 5 different portions. He said bechol bechina bechem kalula ba'eser heim chamishim. So that's the same idea, I think, that he said previously. Each one of them has 50 within it. Comes out that these 5 different portions of Bina are going to be multiplied into 5 different names of Sag. So he wants to go with the number 5. 5 and Sag go together, I guess. V'chamisha pa'amim Sag heim b'gematria shatu. V'im ahei atzman shal Bina shehem chamisha gevuras mansapach. There he brings it out. Okay, fine. That's where you get your 320 in this Shach the Sag. So his Avakevich Shabina who besod Shem Sag, V'yesh bo chamisha bechinos keneged os hey rishon shalavaya, which also represents the Mansapach, which he said previously. Nimsa sheyesh bo chamisha pa'amim Shem Sag ha'olim shatu. So it just spells it out. V'im os hey atzma shehi besod chamisha gevuros Mansapach shebabina olashach. So there's your shach. Now still, shach is really the nature of the dinim. The dinim that are within us. You're trying to understand, what you're going to do with them. What's going to happen here? So my master told me, Ki nimshach shorish nishmasi. So he said that about me. He said, from this shar, that's the root of my soul. He's saying that the Marchu is an aspect of Bina. So therefore, I have to really have Kavanah on this shar and not on another one. The Sfiras HaOmer, when we come to Sfiras HaOmer, Tzar kol echad l'kavev v'lahamtek as the Shach Dinim, where everybody has to have this Kavanah on the Shach Dinim. He says during Sfirah, shal shar echad. So each day is going to be a different shar. Machamishim shari bina of the 50. Shemisham ku shorish nishmasa, because this is the root of the sham of the marchu. Vomer marchu zia sharabach arizacha b'chom b'dachas shorish nishmasa b'shar harishon is from this first shar that we're talking about. Now he already said that it doesn't necessarily mean the first of the 50; it means the first of the 6. So therefore, our idea is like this. We're going to sweeten that up. But you don't have to concentrate on any other ones. Okay, I'm not sure what that meant, but one day, each day that we have to concentrate on one of them. So moving on. So number Sadihei. Now let's go to the next one. Let's look at our little blue book and see what we do with how he did this. So here's the Shach base, the second Shach, which is in the far right-hand column, and it is the Shem Dani. Now he says, what is Dani? Dani is actually the last 3 letters of the word Adni. So he says that we're really focusing on the word Dani. Then he says, if you take 5 times the name, and he keeps putting the aleph in there because I'm not sure why he does this. We understand that that's the sweetener of the dinim, but we're really dealing with Dani. If you take Dani and you multiply it by 5, you get Dani plus 5, you get, see it again, 5 times Dani plus 5 equals Shaka, which is the sweetened in the mituk for the purpose of making the mituk. It's sweetening it. Now, in the first box, let's see, we would be, for tonight, we would be at the first box. The first box is also going to bring, I guess this is the idea, you're going to bring a 45 into that. And this is how you do it, is that you take the word, I guess he's got the word dan, there's no yud in it, and he splits the nun into a 41, and going along with the daled, it makes a number 45. And that is the sweetening. That is how you sweeten that. And then you have a leftover for the 41, which Dani is the gematria of what, 54? What is Dani? Is, 64. So 1 second is Dani is 64, right. So then you're going to go on, and he's going to continue to cut it up. Let's go back to the next one. I hope you don't mind this, but I felt that for myself at least, it's good to get this idea out. So I think we went on number Tzadi Hey. So number Tzadi Hey, let me just find this here. Okay, number Tzadi Hey says, V'shar hasheni hu ki kashatikach shlosha osios din shel adni v'timnach amisha pamim din, and you take it and you 5 times din. Now why does he take 5 times? Kamisbar hey elo shahu abina. So we're still dealing with coming out of bina. Ye bigamatria shak. So the Tiv says, Ashar hasheni, the second one, he says, Kasha lokachim machamesha shemus adni. When you take from those 5 adnis, so adni is the name of the nook. As osius, just these 3 letters, the dani part, shebachem shahem osius din, which is really, that's what it is. Chamisha pamim dani, so if you multiply them 5 times, olin the million shach dinim. Batam he yosef chamisha shemus adni, hu mekevin shev SEFIRAH bina, he connected os hey, rishona shel shem avaya. His words are, Batam he yosef chamisha shemus adni. Why did you take 5? And now he switched, instead of saying dani, he's changed it to adni. So, which is actually adding 5. You know, he kind of wants to do that, 5 sweetenings onto the dani. Whom mekevish SEFIRAH bina he connected os hey rishona shel shem avaya. So he says kanoda. So he said, let me explain a little bit more. He says kanoda ki hachamisha galafin shebachamisha shemos shel shem adnu. So the 5 olives there. This is the sweetening part, v'chabisum, and the perfuming of a shel shlosha osius din. I guess he's telling us that the kind of din also has a bad reach to it, or a bad smell. A communion shaka. When you do that, they add the mitok, that it becomes out 325, which is a sweetened din. So his agav. Mevar kan ech naasach amtachas adinim shalom mesha din halalo. So these particular 5 dinim, how do we sweeten them? Leilach hamisha din nimshak and hamisha osius aleph. Now we know this from other places. You bring the letter aleph into it. The hamisha shemus akia. That, where does the aleph come from? It comes from 5 ekyas. And we know something about the ekya from previously. You wanted to say that the aleph represents a lavush. Now, what does he mean here? Ve'elu ha'alafim mamtikim es dinim, and they have the power to be able to sweeten the dinim. So he says, ubetzirav hachamisha alafim. So if you take the 5 olives, ve'hem na'asin the chamisha shemos adni, and they become 5 different names of adni, ha'olam shaka, which comes 325, Nimsa the shem adni chaluk the shnayim. It comes out like this, that the name adni actually has 2 parts to it. I think we probably know. There's osios din, shabo chen bebechinas chelik kadin shabo, and he's talking about this in us. V'ha'os aleph hi ha'chelik ha'mamtakam, is the part which sweetens them. Now, just to try to understand what he's doing, in terms of what we're doing, let's look at the second box, Shach base, which is the Shem Adni, which is really Dani plus an olive. And so he takes the word, he takes, am I in the right place? He takes the Dalid, the Dalet of Adni, we're not of Dani rather, and he mitzaref it with the Nun. He splits the Nun. I think I did that already. Let's go down to the next one. Now let me see what's next. I keep hitting this camera, and if I keep doing that, it's going to go out. So let me see. Where are we? Okay, we're on number Tzadi Zion. Tzadi Zion says, Ashar Hashlishi Timna, you should count 7 Havayas Dema. So basically, he just says that this is Ma Demidui Alofim, Shakal Havaya, he begematria Adam, each one of them is an Adam, and these are all I guess these are all the 45s that are going to sweeten everything. You just bring out the Havaya Dema. V'heim Sod Sheva Malach and Shemalchu Be'eretz Adam. Because Echad Bechemet Nikra Adam, each one of them is called Adam. The Sheva Pamim Adam gives you the matria Shem Hey. Let me say it again. The Sheva Pamim Adam, if you include it with the Hey law, which is Bina, where things are coming out from, He Bina, which is Bina, Heim Shach, there you get your 320 again. So he said, Bashar Shlishi, Hu Ki Hasheva Malachim Shemalhu Be'eretz Adam, those 7 Malachim that were ruling in the end of Adam, called Echem Bechem Hu Sod Shem Ama. Each one of them is actually Ama, because they're part of really, let's say, the Zeranpen aspect of the Nekudim. Ki Hem Sfiras Zaz Hu Sod Shem Ma. V'shev V'shemos Ma Olam Shatu. Combine it again from their source, which is Bina. V'im Os Hey Shem Havayad Ashagadnega Bebina Shememenu Yalza Elech Sheva Malachim. This also is going to come out to be Shach. Let's go to the next one. Let's take a look at it first. We didn't really take a look at the third one. The third Shach is, as you read across, he just has the Havayas Dema, and he shows that each one of them is a gematria of 45, and so by itself, I guess, it's the sweetening power. I'm not sure exactly how you put it together with the others, but that's what it is. Let's go to the Shach number Daled in the box. He says Shach number Valav is a Nesiv. Now, I have a note here that this Yud Samach refers to Spheros. It's 10 Spheros. I'm not sure. Anyway, because what he does is he says, we'll read it here, Nesiv, and it's supposed to be Yud Spheros. Let's suppose that's right. I don't know. He said, Lev Elokim Mebria. So the Lev Elokim, the phrase Lev Lamed Beis Elokim Bebria, the 32 Elokims that we find in Olam Bebria, Olim Lamed Beis Nesivas of Chochma, they come out to be the 32 Nesivas of Chochma. So the word 32 Elokims, each one of them is represented by an Elokim. And the best that I can understand from the drawing of what he's doing is he's just counting out one path, one Elokim, for each day. And Aleph, Beis, Gimel, Dalet, and once again this Hey. So I'm not understanding this all that well, but he borrows it. He also lends the Hey like it's a double Hey, and says, I'm not sure how you get the number 45 out of the Siv or out of the Aleph, Beis, Gimel, Dalet, Hey that's below it. So let's say for the first day. So let's see what help I could get over here, and try to figure out where I was. That was the Shar of Shlish. This is the Shar. Is this the Shar Review? This is the Shar of Mishi. No, Shar Revi. Okay, it's the Shar of Revi. Hu Shloshim V'Shtayim Elokim. Shehem HaShlosha V'Shtayim Nesivas and Niskarim La'el, which is the 32 Elokims, are also the pathways. Called Echa Kol Ulum Eser Sfiras Heim Shach, and there is your Shach again. So this is one of the Shachs that has to be sweetened. So Hashar HaRevi, he Beskinas Halamed Beis Nesivas Chochma. So it's basically every day is a count of one of the Nesivas Chochma. Shegenegdam, so that I guess you would say that's a Hitstarfus, so that you're joining them all together. Shegenegdam Niskru Halamed Beis Shemos Elokim. So in these are the 32 names of Elokim, B'Maisa Bereshis, all of those. Kol Echa Medesivos Elu Kolol Eser Spheres Hareshach. So each one of them, I didn't bring this down good, has within it Shemos Elokim b'Maaseh Bereishis v'Kol Echad Menesivos Elu Kol SEFIRAH Hareshach. There's your 320 again. Number 99, Tzadi Tes, Shar HaChamishi. Let's look at the fifth Shar. So from the top, 1 second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 5 says Shach He is Shakai, the name Shakai. If you take the name Shakai and he says you add 6 onto it, 6 Serufi Shem Shakai, and there are 6, and the name, any name that has 3 letters in it, has a possibility of 6 combinations. So exactly as I'm looking across here, exactly what I'm looking at, I'm not sure. But he has a shin, and it sounds like he's taking 45 from shin, and 45 from each one. And as he does it, he winds up coming up to ultimately at the end, the number that he shows it to us, 6 times, let's see, I have to read it in the, here is the 6 different combinations at the end. So you add 32 onto 270, it gets you 302. I'm not sure exactly, it gets you, you need to get to 320. I'm not sure how it works. So let's see number Tzadi Tes. Asher Hamishi Shem Shakai. In Techaber B'Moch Heshbon. 1 second. He says, Hashach Hamishi Shem Shakai Im Techaber B'Moch Heshbon Shisha Tzirufim Sheyesh B'Cho Kanoida. So you add on to the 6 possible combinations, which he shows us if aim Shakai, Shayid, and going on like that. There's 6 different problems. Yehi or Shach. Add them up, and you'll find out that they come out to be 320. Hashach Hamishi, who minyan the gematria shel Shem Adni, is the count of the gematria of the name Adni. B'tziruf minyan shisha tzirufim shel Shem Shakai. If you add onto it the name Shakai, so he shows it to us again. That comes to the gematria of Shach. So these are another set of Shach dinim. I'm not sure that I really could get that from that box exactly. I don't think it added. I have to take more time with it to see it again. Number Kuf, Hashar Hashishi, the 6th Shar. That's the last one. So let's take it to the last one in our little diagram here. He says the Shach Vav. The Shach Vav goes with these 2 names, which we actually talked about it before, which is Kale Akia. So Kale is Akia, makes itself into a Kale. We saw how that works, but I'm not sure what this is. Plus the 6 letters of the name Kale Akia, plus 2 kololim is going to bring you to 320 again. So how does that work? So here we are in number Kuf. Number Kuf says, Hashar Hashishi. Shem Kale Ekia. Okay, 1 second, sorry. Again. Hashar Hashishi Shem Kale Ekia. Ki yesh bechem shisha osios, so connectem timnech shisha pamim Kale Ekia. If you count up Kale Ekia, put it together, you multiply it by 6, yehi bekematria shin yud beis. V'im shisha osios hare shin yud ches. V'im klalos shnei shemos hem shach. Okay, so it's a little bit difficult to reason how it is that the Rav comes up with these different combinations, but he says that that's the truth, that you take Kale Ekia and you put it together, you can make it into a Shach. Hashach Hashishi Hu Shemus Kale Ekia are those names, Kale Ekia, and Shisha Osios V'Kol Os Mehem Yesh Ba Gam Kem Bechinas Kale Ekia, and each one of them has a Kale Ekia. So he says, Hare, therefore, Shisha Pamim Kale Ekia, Odin Begematria Shin Yud Beis, he says it again. V'im Mispach Shisha Osios V'Shnei Kololim Shal Shnei Hashemos Ola Shach. That's the next Shach. And we'll stop here. And now we went through that the Tamuna here that is brought by the Rashash, or in this Rabbi Atiya, to be able to see how that works. See you tomorrow, tomorrow Tuesday. See you Tuesday, God willing.